So this class is basically is in continuation to our specific things that we have discussed prior in our class. We started another genre of working with writing a letter, and today we are going to talk about the real grounds where how we are going to receive the question and how we are going to respond to the question. Right. So as far as the question is concerned, so the specific format of the question is still the same, right? We are going to receive two texts, right, along with our question. Let me just do a bit of setting here. It requires, okay, yeah. Now you can see both of the text very clearly on my screen. Okay, so text A and text B along with the question, right? Here is our question. So let's read the question first and see, okay, what sort of letter are we going to write? Question is that you and a friend have been asked to work together to organize an event in a school or college. Your friend is an overthinker. Write a letter to your friend suggesting how you could work successfully together. In your letter, you should evaluate the ideas, attitudes, and opinion given in the text. You are going to consider some of the ways that each of you could help to make the event a success. Base your letter on what you have read in both text, but be careful to use your own words. Address both of the bullet points, write about 250 to 350 words. As we already know that our common practice is that once we have read the question, so the next thing that we have to finalize is we have to come up with the specific decision, like what specific sort of genre are we going to write. Are we going to work with the discursive letter, or we are going to write a persuasive or an argumentative? So here, if we keep the question in consideration, so basically this question is asking you to write a letter that evaluate ideas, attitudes, and opinion from the given text while considering the ways to work successfully with your friend. This means that the response needs to be balanced and evaluative, making it closer to a discursive piece rather than purely argumentative or persuasive. Right? If we talk about the discursive one, or how, uh, in simple words, if we say the nature of the question, so the question itself is also discursive because the letter that require that we have been required to consider both of the positive and the negative aspects of overthinking, acknowledging its strength and weaknesses. It also encourages a reasoned and a structured discussion rather than forcefully arguing on the one side. The question is also evaluative in the nature, as the second bullet point comes with the evaluation of the ideas. So this means that the question asks you to assess and reflect on the different perspective from the text while require critical thinking rather than just presenting an opinion. As the term is used that you and your friend, so this means it is a letter to a friend, so the tone is going to be engaging, informal, but structured and logical. So while the letter may have the element of persuasion, which is basically encouraging the friend to work effectively, it does not require a strong one-sided argument like an argumentative letter. So instead it focuses on the thoughtful discussion, making it more discursive. Right? So that means the letter that we are going to write is going to be the discursive letter. So let's do the plan side by side. So in nature of the question, we are going to mention that the nature is going to be discursive, right? Then first paragraph, definitely the introduction. as it is a letter. So, along with the introduction in the first paragraph, we can also communicate the particular greetings, right? So, let's proceed further and see that what specific points has been discussed by the author here in the text. Okay, text A. The following passage is a part of a magazine article about overthinking. It's not all it's not at all uncommon for my friends to tell me don't overthink, just go with it. Just going with it is not something I do. I must really understand what I am doing, and then I think through almost very possibility, every possibility and eventuality, and I plan. When people say things like, who could have imagined that would happen about some entirely predictable outcome, my most common response is, I could. I have realized that for most people, I am an overthinker, but for me, it is others who underthink. I just think. I have always been a natural observer, able to take the emotional temperature of a room, able to watch people's micro movement, listen to their language, their tone. Sometimes today, my children think I am a mind reader, but of course, I am not. I have just noticed what's been said, what's gone on, and I have overthought what they might do or say. So sometimes I answer a question before they ask, and they think I have a superpower. Straight out of school, I joined the military where you had to think not once but several times about the simple task because everything was a potential trap or some otherwise overlooked detail might later become vital. Check everything always. During one lecture, someone came in to give a message to a lecturer, and afterwards, we were told to describe that person who had just flitted in while we were concentrating on something else. Of course, overthinking can be exhausting. I must be careful to have boundaries and to give myself time off because Beaumont is never far away. I also have to be careful not to end up doing people's thinking or memory storage for them because, like all emotions and ways of working, there is a plus and a minus sign. Other people get used to young doing their planning and thinking for them. On the whole, I love being an overthinker. It's enormously enriching and brings me a very rewarding mental world. I go with it now then rather than fight it. Examining every aspect of everything can bring with it most amazing insights. So this is what our text A was, and in text A, the things that have been told to us is the specific way of overthinking, right? So this passage is written from the point of view of someone who embraces being an overthinker, and the writer explains that they analyze everything deeply and always think ahead, and they believe that this makes them more aware of details that others might miss, right? So, in the passage, the writer shares that how they have been observant since childhood and can often predict what people will say or do. They talk about the writer talk about his or her experience in the military, where overthinking was actually useful because paying attention to the small detail was important. However, the writer also admit that overthinking can be exhausting and lead to the burnout if you don't set your boundaries. So despite its challenges, despite its challenges, the writer sees overthinking as a strength, making life more insightful and rewarding for them. Right? So let's take out the specific plan. But before proceeding to the plan, let's discuss the specific part of evaluation of text A. Right? So the ideas from text A that we get are that overthinking can be good, right? Uh, Let me just think about how to rephrase it. We can say that if you overthink, so that means that you focus on a clear decision making power, right? So let me get the bullet points. So the first thing that has been mentioned, or the idea that we evaluate from here, is that overthinking uh, allow you to focus on the clear decision making power, right? Or we can say that overthinking is useful, or it helps you to make decision, right? Second is, which was mentioned over here, is that straight of the school, I joined the military. It helps you to become more organized, right? Or it enables you to analyze effectively, like you are going to pay attention on the specific details that might have been ignored by the other people, right? And overthinking can be exhausting. Another part of it, right? So these are the three main ideas that we have so far taken out from this text. Now let's proceed to text B and let's see what the text B says. Text B. The following passage is an extract from an article. Thinking about something in endless circles is exhausting. While everyone overthinks occasionally, chronic overthinkers spend most of their waking time ruminating, putting pressure on themselves, making them less able to change. Overthinking can take many forms, but endlessly deliberating when making a decision and then questioning that decision is common. While hours might be spent deciding, the actual decision is often never made. People confuse overthinking with the problem solving, says one psychologist. But what ends up happening is just sort of go in a loop. We are not really solving the problem. In attempting to read what is on the people's mind, overthinkers can create difficulties for themselves and others. People who overthink constantly run commentaries in their heads about what they say or do and fret anxiously about how others think of them. They find it difficult to make an objective choice or arrange things in the best way because they constantly worry about how their action will be perceived. Straightforward communication proves impossible because overthinkers are consumed by self doubt, what ifs, and should dominate their thinking as if an invisible jury is sitting in judgment on their lives. Trying to predict the future by reading into the smallest detail to avoid potentially bad outcomes can deliberate them. Overthinking can keep you stuck in the past, unable, sorry, unable to make important decisions and preoccupied with trying to avoid annoying others. Over time, most people learn to harness and control their thinking habit. They might always plan and even worry, but they gradually realize that it could be an advantage. Getting to that point, however, can be a difficult journey. So, this is what our passage 2 was, the text number B, right? And in text B, we can say that this passage basically focuses on the negative side of overthinking and how it can be a sort of harmful thing for you. The writer explains that overthinkers spend too much time thinking in circles without making any actual decision. The writer also quote a quotation from a psychologist which mentions that the people often mistake overthinking for problem solving, but in reality, it just creates stress without solving anything. Overthinkers tend to worry about how the others are going to look at them, how the others are going to think about them, making even simple communication quite very difficult. They also keep revisiting the past and worrying about the future, which stops them from making decisions or moving forward. However, the passage acknowledges that some overthinkers learn to manage their habit over the time and turn it into an advantage, right? So let's take out the ideas from here as we did from text A. So let's take it out from text B as well. Okay. So far, the first specific idea which is being mentioned is that overthinking can be harmful. Second idea which has been mentioned here is that if you keep on overthinking, so that means that you are stressing yourself, right? Or in simple words, you can say that overthinkers uh, spend too much time thinking, in thinking. Another phenomena which is being mentioned that it creates its stress or but before the stress it was about that people mix it up with problem solving, right? Mix it up, mm, or we can the next thing that we can say that it create stress without solving anything, right? uh, Another thing, the specific outcome of overthinker which is being mentioned, that if you keep on overthinking, so you basically worry about how people see them, right? So we can say that overthinkers worrying about their past and how or what people will think about them. Mm. right? It's about A. Okay. So far, we have taken out one, two, three, four, five ideas. The evaluation from text B are based on five ideas. Okay. So if we talk about text A, so the first idea that we have talked about, that overthinking is useful. It helps you to make decision. Uh, Overthinking is basically has been serving a purpose of being a strength, right? Yeah. So far, if we talk about the key differences in between the two texts, so text A is basically presents overthinking as a positive trait that helps in making a smart observation and avoiding mistake. In the other hand, text B highlights the negative effects, showing that how overthinking can create anxiety, indecisiveness, right? So let's plan the letter. You and your friend have been asked to work together to organize an event, right? Introduction, that means greetings. It's a letter, so you can talk about that how particular well-being your friend has been into, right? Okay, coming to the main body. So the second paragraph, the point that I'm going to take over here would be basically the first one. Like if you overthink, so it helps you to make decisions. So that means K helps you to make decision. The evidence that I'm going to give about it is can be that mm, you can talk about any specific trait from your friend's personality. It's as the point is basically emphasizing upon the decision making power. So that means your friend may have strong skills of analysis, right? Then the relevant example or explanation you can give, and then you have to link it to your main idea before ending up to your paragraph. Moving on with the third para. The point that I am going to take here is mm, that it helps you to stay organized. Yes, it helps you to organize, right? Then you can provide any relevant evidence, relevant explanation, and before ending your paragraph, you're going to link it to your main idea. Then moving on, if you want to add the fourth para, so you can add the fourth para. If you want to add a fifth paragraph, so you can add the fifth paragraph accordingly with the same specific format. And in the ending, you are going to talk about how or what specific outcome of this letter may have on your friend, right? So you can further enhance your plan according to what you might plan to write. So now let's proceed towards writing the letter. Uh, as in the guideline, I have mentioned that your letter must come up with the complete salutation. That means that you are going to address your friend here at the beginning. Okay. Rather than adding just the word friend, if you want to add on your friend's name, so you can add on his or her name as well, right? Starting on the first paragraph, So yeah, let me write down the first paragraph. In the first paragraph, we have so far planned to talk about the specific introduction and the greeting, where we are going to talk about the specific purpose as well, like why are we writing this letter, right? So we can start that. I hope you are doing well. I am really excited that we have been, as it is an informal tone, so I can use the contraction of we have, v apostrophe ve, right? We have been given the responsibility to organize this event together. Then, in order to emphasize, you can add some sort of more details that I know that working on something, I know that working on something like this can feel overwhelming, overwhelming. Hmm. WHELMING, yes. But I truly believe that it's supposed to be L here. Okay. But I truly believe that, and I forgot that what I was supposed to write. Okay. I hope that you are doing well. I am really excited that we have been given this responsibility to organize this event together. I know that working on something like this can feel overwhelming, but I truly believe that if we play to our strength, if we play to our strength, mm, and support each other, we will make it a great success. We will make it a great, right? So, in this way, you have talked about your specific introduction, you conveyed the greeting, and you have also motivated your friend. As in the question, it has already been mentioned that your friend is an overthinker. So, that means that you are going to motivate your friend, you are giving the specific platform your friend to feel comfortable to work with you, not to think over, right? So, furthermore, let's add on more details here. Okay, so the further detail that I have added is that I have talked about his specific shortcoming of having overthinking, right? So I have mentioned that while I admire your ability to think deeply about every detail, I also understand that overthinking can sometimes slow things down. That's why I wanted to make this collaboration smooth and effective. So in this way, your purpose has been introduced as well, right? So now moving on to the main point that you are going to express with the first idea, that it helps you to make decision, right? As we are going to maintain a very sort of balanced tone, so we have to make sure that we are not at only sticking to one specific stance. Another most prominent thing that I would like to discuss over here, that most of the time many candidates stuck with this specific problem of how to make the connection or express the connection in between the paragraphs. So today I'm going to apply a very simple technique, that I'm going to use the specific connectors of numerals like firstly, secondly, thirdly, fourthly, and lastly, and I'm going to tell you people that how effectively we can use, right? So starting with the body paragraph, so I am going to say that the first, I think we should focus on, we should focus on clear decision making. Your analytical skills are impressive. Your analytical skills are impressive, and your ability to foresee mm, potential challenges is invaluable. However, as I have to maintain a balanced tone, so I'm going to talk about the other stance side by side. However, to keep things moving forward, we should set the time limits. This way, we can avoid getting stuck in endless deliberation and ensure that we meet deadlines, right? So, in this way, the specific structure of the balanced piece of writing, the discursive piece of letter we're going to process, to present, right? We are going to pick up one specific positive impact and one specific negative impacts together along with the specific connection to show that how it can be improved or how we can get ourselves a benefit from it. Okay, now in order to introduce my second point, I'm going to use the simple connector. Second, I believe that now whatever the specific point you want to add, you can say that in continuation, like the paragraph which is in my mind is that second, I believe that breaking tasks into manageable steps will help us stay organized instead of trying uh, perfect everything in one go. We can divide our work into smaller actionable parts. This will not only make the process less overwhelming, but also allows us to make steady progress without feeling burdened by the entire project at once. This is how my second paragraph is going to be completed. Now, the next connective word that I'm going to use is thirdly, or the third. We should write balance planning, right? And you can continue this paragraph accordingly. If you want to come up with a fourth paragraph, that which the one that was in my mind is basically was that about the communication, right? So I can say that the fourth communication will be the key to our success, right? And in order to introduce your last point, you are not going to say fifthly, you are going to say last, right? And whatever the point you want to introduce, you can add on here. So in this way, your effective paragraphing can be done, and the linkage between your paragraph would be expressive, can be a great expression. When it comes towards the ending, the last paragraph of letter, so I'm going to say that I truly appreciate your insights and attention to detail, and I am confident that together we will create something amazing.